from 310 restaurants to just 26 in less than 15 years. Bennigan's catastrophic collapse represents one of the fastest and most complete restaurant chain failures in American history. What makes this implosion particularly fascinating is that it happened to a brand people genuinely loved. The Monte Cristo sandwich, the Turkey O'Toole, Death by Chocolate. These menu items inspired cult-like devotion among customers. So how does a restaurant chain with cult-like fans and international recognition end up filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy? The answer lies in a series of decisions made years before the final day of reckoning in July 2008. Step through those wooden doors, and you're instantly transported to a different world. The 1990s Bennigan's was an experience carefully crafted to make you feel both comfortable and special simultaneously. The warm glow of brass light fixtures illuminated dark mahogany walls, covered with a beautiful mix of vintage advertisements and Irish-themed memorabilia. From weathered road signs to antique farm tools, every item seemed to tell a story from a simpler time. Norman Brinker, the visionary who founded Bennigan's in 1976, understood something fundamental about American dining psychology. Having previously developed the steak and ale concept, Brinker recognized that Americans craved a third place, somewhere between work and home where they could relax and connect. Bennigan's succeeded through its balance of accessibility and specialness. The prices remained reasonable enough for a weeknight dinner, yet the atmosphere felt elevated enough for celebrations or first dates. The sensory landscape of Bennigan's functioned like a community theater stage, familiar yet transformative. The distinctive sizzle of fajita platters announced their arrival before you saw them. Servers navigated between wooden tables as the aroma of fried mozzarella sticks mingled with grilled steaks and the buttery scent of potato skins. Ice clinked in glasses while conversations and laughter created a soundtrack that felt both energetic and intimate against the backdrop of Guinness advertisements and manufactured Irish artifacts. While TGI Fridays, Applebee's, and Chili's attempted similar approaches, none captured Bennigan's specific magic. Competitors often leaned too heavily into kitsch or felt too corporate. Bennigan's democratized dining out for middle-class Americans, making it accessible without sacrificing the special occasion feeling. The restaurant's interior design enhanced this atmosphere with strategic elements. Booth seating offered privacy within the communal space. Dark wood paneling created intimate zones where romantic dinners and family gatherings coexisted. The bar area functioned as its own ecosystem, welcoming solo diners, after-work groups, or waiting couples. By the 1990s, Bennigan's had expanded to hundreds of locations, becoming a cultural touchstone, a familiar setting for countless milestone moments in ordinary Americans' lives, achieving what marketers now call third space branding. That emotional connection to Bennigan's wasn't just about the ambiance. It was cemented by signature dishes that were impossible to find elsewhere. At a time when most casual dining menus had become interchangeable, Bennigan's wielded a secret weapon so powerful that devoted fans would plan road trips around it. The legendary Monte Cristo sandwich. This wasn't just any sandwich. It was a deep-fried miracle that laughed at conventional sandwich boundaries. Ham, turkey, Swiss and American cheeses trapped inside egg-battered bread, fried to golden perfection, dusted with powdered sugar, and served with raspberry preserves for dipping. One bite threw that crispy exterior into the molten cheese center, followed by a sweet tangy raspberry dip, created a flavor combination so addictive that fans would drive hours just to experience it again. What made the Monte Cristo particularly magical was its impossible to replicate at home quality. The precise frying temperature, the specific batter consistency, the exact timing. This wasn't amateur hour sandwich making. Even restaurant competitors who attempted knockoffs rarely captured the exact alchemy that made Bennigan's version legendary. Little did these devoted fans know that behind the deep fryers, corporate decisions were already setting the stage for trouble. The culinary hits didn't stop at sandwich perfection. The Turkey O'Toole, a flavor adventure that put turkey on a pretzel bun years before pretzel buns became the cool kids of bread, developed its own following. Their baked potato soup became the comfort food equivalent of a warm hug, ordered in blizzards and heat waves alike. And the Death by Chocolate? This towering monument of cake, ice cream, and fudge wasn't just dessert. It was the official sponsor of countless "I'll start my diet tomorrow" promises across America. These signature dishes transformed Bennigan's from just another restaurant into a culinary destination. While maintaining its Irish pub spirit, the kitchen delivered genuine satisfaction that kept customers returning specifically for dishes they couldn't find elsewhere, a distinction that should have sustained them through challenges, even as competing chains expanded around them. That distinctive culinary identity should have been Bennigan's shield against failure, yet somehow, a restaurant empire with 310 locations vanished almost overnight. While diners were blissfully dipping their Monte Cristos in raspberry preserves, the restaurant chain was caught in a dizzying corporate carousel that would ultimately spell its doom. Behind the scenes, as customers created warm memories at their tables, boardroom decisions were slowly draining Bennigan's soul. Founder Norman Brinker sold the concept to Pillsbury in 1982, beginning a troubling pattern of corporate trading. Through a series of transactions, from Pillsbury to British conglomerate Grand Metropolitan in 1989, then to Metro Media Company in 1993, Bennigan's was passed between entities with minimal restaurant expertise. Regulatory complications accelerated these transfers. Grand Metropolitan's ownership of liquor brands created conflicts under American distribution laws, forcing them to divest Bennigan's to Metro Media, a company primarily known for billboard advertising and telecommunications, not restaurant management. Every time ownership changed hands, we lost a little more of what made us special. We went from being restaurateurs to being line items on a spreadsheet, noted a former operations director. This corporate approach manifested in shrinking training programs, cheaper ingredients replacing quality ones, and neglected restaurant maintenance. While plates were still being filled, strategic direction became increasingly muddled as corporate mandates prioritized cost-cutting over customer experience. Meanwhile, the casual dining landscape evolved rapidly. TGI Fridays modernized its menu and decor by the early 2000s. Chili's introduced tableside technology. Ruby Tuesday embraced healthier options. Applebee's expanded with neighborhood-focused marketing. Bennigan's remained frozen in its 1990s identity, offering the same menu in increasingly dated surroundings. The stagnation became evident in customer metrics. Between 2005 and 2007, Bennigan's saw a 16% decline in same-store sales, while comparable chains averaged only a 3% drop. Understaffed locations, inconsistent food quality, and neglected facilities drove away former loyal customers. By 2008, Metro Media Restaurant Group struggled with massive debt and declining revenue across its portfolio. Attempts to sell found no buyers. Negotiations with lenders, including GE Capital, broke down after Bennigan's violated loan covenants. With the economy faltering and credit markets tightening, the financial architecture supporting the once thriving chain crumbled. "I showed up for my morning shift and there was a sign that said we were closed for business," recalled one former employee. "That was it. No severance, no explanation, just gone." This shocking scene played out at Bennigan's locations across America on July 29, 2008, when the restaurant chain's financial architecture didn't just crumble, it catastrophically collapsed overnight. Instead of the typical Chapter 11 reorganization that gives businesses a second chance, Bennigan's chose Chapter 7 liquidation, the corporate equivalent of throwing in the towel completely. No warning emails were sent. No press releases circulated in advance. As 9,000 employees slept before their upcoming shifts, lawyers were filing bankruptcy documents that would immediately terminate their jobs. By sunrise, security guards were changing locks and posting notices on doors nationwide. The company didn't even have the financial resources to provide the federally mandated 60-day notice under the WARN Act, abandoning thousands of workers without warning or preparation. The human toll extended beyond employees. Regular customers who had purchased gift cards the day before now held worthless plastic. Birthday celebrations planned for that evening were hastily relocated. Communities that had gathered around these establishments for decades suddenly lost their meeting places without a chance to say goodbye. What made this collapse particularly shocking was its complete departure from industry norms. When restaurant chains struggle, they typically close underperforming locations, renegotiate with creditors, and restructure through Chapter 11. Bennigan's parent company, however, simply surrendered, a decision that stunned industry analysts. The timing couldn't have been worse. July 2008 marked the beginning of the Great Recession. Consumer spending was plummeting, credit markets were freezing, and food costs were rising. Metro Media Restaurant Group was simply too financially vulnerable after years of declining performance. Curiously, franchise-owned restaurants, roughly 138 locations, weren't directly included in the bankruptcy filing. Some independent owners continued operating, creating an odd patchwork of surviving Bennigans, amid what the Wall Street Journal described as one of the largest restaurant collapses in recent memory. In an unexpected twist, Bennigan's refused to completely vanish despite its catastrophic bankruptcy. Today, a modest fleet of just 26 locations keeps the brand alive, primarily international outposts and ghost kitchens operating in the digital sphere. When Paul Mangiamele acquired the brand in 2011, he embarked on what he calls bleeding green to resurrect both Bennigan's and its sister concept, steak and ale. This resurrection story reveals how deeply restaurant brands embed themselves in our cultural consciousness. Despite losing nearly 90% of its physical footprint, Bennigan's continues to evoke powerful emotional connections for generations who celebrated life milestones under its roof. The Bennigan's saga offers both a lesson in business vulnerability and a testament to nostalgia's resilience. In casual dining's fickle landscape, Bennigan's remains, diminished but defiant, a living time capsule of an era when Irish-themed chain restaurants felt like home.